Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today, PJ and I are going to review the last movies of 2025 that we didn't get a chance to review earlier this year. So it's kind of more of the late fall, this early winter reviews. So we have
cinema catch-up, if you will.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to almost do like a lightning round, folks, of reviews. But you know what some of the reviews we're going to be doing is we're going to do Avatar 3, The House Maid, Knives Out 3, Wake Up Dead Man, Predator Badlands, Song Sung Blue, Eternity, and We Bury the Dead. So, folks, we're just going to get right into it. PJ.
We will start off with Song Sung Blue. I don't know if you're familiar with the premise of this movie, but Song Sung Blue, you're a little, okay. So Song Sung Blue is actually the title of a Neil Diamond song. This movie is not about Neil Diamond. It is actually it's a true story. It's about a Neil Diamond impersonator. Yeah, and he goes by Lightning is his name. And so the movie is about this guy's story of becoming, I don't know if you want to call him the premier Neil Diamond impersonator or anything like that, but one of the more famous ones. So he's played by Hugh Jackman, and the female lead is Kate Hudson, and she's Thunder, because they're lightning, and Thunder is the name of this band that they have. So the movie starts off, basically, you meet Hugh Jackman, and he's in an Alcoholics Anonymous, and some slight spoilers. I'm not going to go crazy deep with spoilers, but there'll be some. He's in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and he's been sober. They tell you how long he's been sober. I forget how long. And every year on his sober birthday at the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, he sings the Song Sung Blue. It's just like his thing.
Yes.
And then he had a gig that night. He goes to the gig that night, and he was supposed to impersonate Don Ho, maybe it was. I forget who it is. And he decides he just doesn't want to do it. He goes, I want to just be myself. I just want to be myself. And he bails out on the gig. And as he's leaving, he meets Kate Hudson's character, and they have a little back and forth. And you can see there's a little bit of a spark there. And then from there, it just kind of grows where they start a relationship. They realize they're both into music. They both love Neil Diamond. She tells him, you'd be a great Neil Diamond impersonator. He says, I can't impersonate him. I respect him too much to do that. And she goes, well, how about this? You're not going to be an impersonator. You're going to be a Neil Diamond interpreter. You'll do the songs your way. We'll do them, they do them together. They put a band together. And that's basically the setup for the movie. And again, you have two very talented people in this. Hugh Jackman, we know he can sing and dance because we've seen him do it a million times. Kate Hudson apparently can sing. I didn't know that until I saw this movie.
She's
a very
singer.
nice voice.
Yeah. There's a clip of her on Howard Stern. Maybe it's about a year or two old now. Excellent. Beautiful voice. Really, really great voice.
So from there, their families wind up getting together. They both have, she has a son and a daughter. He has a daughter. They all kind of merge into one house now. They get married, the whole thing, and they're becoming a really good band, really popular. They start booking bigger and bigger gigs. At one point in the movie, they get a phone call, and again, like I said, this is all based on a true story. They opened for Pearl Jam in the 90s. Yeah. He gets a phone call from Eddie Vedder, and he doesn't even know who Eddie Vedder is because he's just like so much older and out of that loop,
of course.
right? And his daughter is like, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. So he winds up opening for Pearl Jam, which opens up more doors for them, and they really start blowing up. So the whole movie, like I said, is really just about the story of these people. And then I don't want to spoil it if you don't know it. That's about as much spoilers as I give. It takes a lot of twists and turns, and there's some dark twists and turns in there. A very emotional movie, but also has some funny parts. The music stuff in there is, if you're a Neil Diamond fan, I mean, you'll love it, right? Because it's all Neil Diamond songs. And I mean, everyone knows Neil Diamond songs. It's not like you'd go in there. Maybe if you're young, I mean, you might go in there and not know the songs, but we're 40, right? I know them all. I don't think you're going to go in there and be like, what songs are these? I saw the movie. I had Suleiman stuck in my head for about a week and a half after seeing the movie. All of his songs are catchy, They joke about Sweet Caroline throughout the entire movie because he's always like, he has more songs than this.
Yeah.
So like I said, very funny, a great cast. Even the people surrounding them in the minor roles. Michael Imperioli shows up in here. Jim Belushi is in it. So it has a cast of really good actors, really good talented people. Great story, heartfelt. The acting is great. Honestly, it's one of the best movies I've seen all year.
Whoa!
I saw this at and we've spoken about this before. I go to the Screen Unseen's at AMC, and I didn't know I was even going to see this movie. We sat down. Next thing we know, Hugh Jackman's introducing the movie to us on the screen. We're like, "Oh shit, we're seeing this movie early." And the movie only actually came out, I think, officially a couple of days ago.
Yes, correct.
It was, like I said, one of the best movies I've seen all year, I think. I really loved it. I appreciated the music. I kind of like these sort of based on true story, but the music ones, like even when they did like the Johnny Cash movie, Walk the
Oh
Line,
yeah, it's a great
I like
movie.
all these kind of movies, you
Yeah.
know? And this is in that vein of like a serious version of the life story of a musical act. And I think you would really appreciate it, being someone who's been in bands and done
Yeah.
all that. I actually think you'd really appreciate it. You should definitely check it out. I give this movie out of 10. I'd give it a strong 8, seven and
All
a half,
right.
8 out of 10. I really, really, really liked it. Look, it's not an action-packed movie. It's not a big blockbuster hit. It's a personal story, but filled with drama, filled with tension, filled with a little bit of laughs, great music. Definitely check it out.
Sounds good. It also sounds just pleasant to watch, and hey, you want to
Yes.
see how it ends. Sometimes,
Yes, very pleasant to watch. That's a great way of putting it. It was probably over 2 hours. Every movie is over 2 hours now. I didn't feel it at all because I was so into the story. And, it's something we haven't seen before, which we always talk about. Like, it's always the same shit in every
oh yeah,
movie. This isn't good guy versus bad guy. This is just, there's not going to be a sequel. This is it. This is the movie. They give you a great story. They give you great acting. And then you're done. And you don't have to think about it ever again. You just got entertained for 2.5 hours and you go back to your life.
so it sounds like you're recommending Song Song Blue.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely recommending Song Sung Blue.
Uh, so I'm going to start with my reviews. I'm starting off with Avatar 3. And
Okay.
The only reason why
I
I
hate
saw
everything about Avatar.
the reason why I saw it was I saw it with my family on Christmas Eve. So it was just something to do. We saw it. So, folks, so let me just start off saying this. We all knew the first Avatar we'll say it was fine. It was good when it came
Fine's
out.
generous, but yeah.
Served its purpose. It was good.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
And
of course.
I don't think anyone really wanted a sequel, and a sequel didn't come out till over a decade later.
Yeah.
And we know what Avatar 2, wasn't as good as the first one, but it was like, okay, and then there's been a lot of I'll say dread, people are just fatigued with this, or we don't really want to see James Cameron, we want to see something else now. So folks, all I can say with this is this movie's completely skippable. If they come out with Avatar 4, just wait for Avatar 4 to come out. This movie's completely skippable. It's over 3 hours long, 3 hours
Oh
and
my
15
god,
minutes.
3 hours of space cats.
And it's exactly. And folks, look, I love James Cameron, but this is his worst movie he's ever made. I mean, he has an incredible catalog, and
He has a very limited catalog. They're great movies, but he's only done what? This is his 8th or 9th movie?
yeah,
And
exactly.
he's been making movies since 1984?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a Tarantino-esque, maybe
Yeah.
short catalog.
Yeah.
But this is definitely, if he made 10 movies, this is the bottom of them. His bottom 3 is Avatar 1, 2, and now 3. And 3 is definitely the worst. So let me start with the positives. Look, the visuals are great. We all know that. I saw it in 3D. You don't really have a choice but to watch it in 3D.
Because he wants you to see it in 3D.
Yeah,
He wants you to show you how great his
Yeah.
3D is.
And the only time you could watch it in regular 2D is weird, odd times. And it was just
Yeah.
not even available. So anyway, the special effects are great. We know all that. The music is good. That's fine. I got to give credit to the actors. I don't know how, because you always see those behind the scenes with a lot of movies where they just put all the dots on their face. I don't know
the
how.
motion caps, yeah.
I don't know how they're able to get themselves. I mean, they use, I guess, there's a ton of imagination, and to pull that off is just incredible.
Is it still the same people in these movies?
Yes, incredibly.
I have not
yes.
seen 2. I didn't have any interest in 2. I have
Yeah.
no interest in 3.
Yes.
Is it still Jake Sully?
Unfortunately, yeah, he's definitely the weakest actor. In general, even the first one, he was serviceable, and the rest he just keeps getting worse and worse.
And it's
Seems like a
Zoe
nice guy.
Saldana still?
She's in it.
still
God
in it?
bless her. She's still holding it down. Sigourney Weaver, she's great. I think his name is Stephen Lang. He plays the villain.
Yeah.
He gets basically resurrected in the second one. He's still in this one. He becomes an avatar. Avi. So I'll give you guys a plot summary. So it starts off kind of where it ended with the last one. There's, I guess the United States are still trying to invade this planet. They're still trying to get that unobtainium. At this point,
What is unobtainium is really, it's
Yeah.
such a stupid name.
I know. I mean, the dialogue in this movie is awful. I mean, awful dialogue, awful. Just the whole, and like I said, this is a waste of time. And what happens is there's another tribe, a tribe that's basically they're kind of reminds you of somebody calls, my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's Mohegans. So it
Okay.
becomes at one point where another tribe starts teaming up with the white settlers, kind of the same
Yeah.
premise. So what happens is Jake Sully and his family, they want to return Spider. Spider's the white guy who has to wear a mask the whole time. He's kind of like the
Okay.
Tarzan of the group. So what happens is he keeps running out of masks, because they can't breathe on there. So like, look, bro, we got to bring you back to humans civilization where you can just live normal. You can't be living out in the woods with us waiting for your battery pack to eventually dry up. We can't live like this. They reluctantly agreed to do this plan where they're going to just drop them off, with like scientists and stuff like that. But along the way, that rival tribe, ambushes them, and they're looking for guns. They get obsessed with guns because they want to have another, source of power. I get that.
Right.
And then, long story short, Quaritch, I think that's Stephen Lang's character. He's the main villain. He teams up with that tribe. I call them the Fire and Ash tribe. With the leader. I don't know what the actress's name. She does a very good job playing a nut job, and teams up with her to take down Jake Sully and take over the planet. They're gonna all that kind of stuff. It's all stuff you already seen already. It's everything here you already know.
This doesn't sound like anything we haven't seen in any of these movies. It's just the same movie 3 times in a row.
So anyway, what happens is, and yes, I'm gonna do some spoilers here. What happens with Spider? That's like I said, the Tarzan type character. He all of a sudden, Sigourney Weaver's character. She's like Jake Sully's, I guess adopted daughter technically. She's like very spiritual. She has from somehow some way she's able to, using the earth or whatever, Pandora.
Right.
He's able to like lay in the ground and for the name of Iwe, whatever, the spirit god of the whole planet, right, is able to go inside his body. Now he's able to breathe air. He's able to breathe the air on that planet. So this is huge. So now the U.S. government and the Marines, they want to find Spider because they want to basically take him as a specimen and be like, hey, we can, reverse engineer this,
replicate this guy,
and
right.
now we'll be able to breathe on this, and now it'll be a whole game changer. So half the movie's them trying to find him. So folks,
how much of this movie is just like James Cameron's political message of don't burn down the forest again?
There's a lot of bad. And look, you and I talk about this. Well, we don't mind a movie has some kind of political messages. If it's subtle, it's done tastefully.
Right.
This is kind of like,
I was gonna say, does he beat you over the head with it?
Same things with the invasion type stuff. Destroying of cultures. There's a lot of, I guess, I'd say in the beginning anyway, a lot of like gun. I don't know, I guess it's gun control or just gun awareness about like obsession with guns, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And folks, I just say from there, it just becomes it's 3 hours long. My brother said it best. It's like they show you all these long shots of like them jumping in the water, and I know that he wants to do that. It's kind of like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's like we've seen it now, man, and it comes to
it's not beautiful anymore. We get it.
Yeah,
it's a nice looking planet. I've been to the planet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I've gone to Disney. I get it.
Right, and my brother said it best. He says like, none of this is real though. Like these animals aren't real. These giant whales are swimming about. It's like
it's cartoon.
Exactly.
It's cartoon.
And it becomes at one point, it just feels like you're just watching a video game. Like the cinematic scenes in a video game, they do actually meet humans, and you see them. They're interacting. It's just so jarring. You're like, oh wow.
He's one of the best filmmakers of a generation. Why can't he get away from these blue cats? He's not a young man. He's got to be close to 80s.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
He's in his 70s at least. He doesn't have that much time left on this planet. Like, let's just call it as it is.
I know.
Don't you want to end on something that's not a stupid blue cat? You want to make, I'm not saying make another Terminator, but come up with something like original.
Exactly.
He's got to have it in him. He's James Cameron. Or maybe he doesn't have it in him anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just find it so disappointing that he's spending whatever time he has left as a filmmaker. Like, he can't do this forever. And any time he has left as a filmmaker is just blue fucking cats saving the jungle.
Yep, I agree. And just other negatives. I mean, like, as we just said, the storyline completely repetitive. They already did the storyline with 1 and 2, and they're doing this. When I say, folks, it is exactly the same. I mean, it's beat for beat. Same thing happens. They're gonna invade them. They're getting beat up. Jake Sully has to prove himself against the tribe. Then they're getting the butt kicks. And how many times they have to, one of the spiritual people have to ask the planet for help.
Right.
Like, it's like, I think the planet knows by now. I feel like the planet should be like, yeah, I know this. We've been dealing with this 3 times already. I think I know to come and help bail you out. And they send in the
planet should just be like, you know what? You're on your own.
Exactly.
Like, then we don't have to do this again.
Yeah. So anyway, the planet comes in and sends all the animals to, beat all the bad guys up. Jake Sully's character, he was always a boring character, but he is really boring. I mean, he's awful in this. I hate Jake Sully's kids. I hate all their kids. It's always Saldana's character. She's always crying. I mean, it's really a writing nightmare. It's just so boring.
I
So
heard there's a weird
repetitive.
thing where they have, like, Sigourney Weaver
Yeah.
hooking up with, like, a kid,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen the movie, but what I read was that they had to hire, like, stunt people so that when she makes out with the kid for her scene, they get, like, an older person, and then when it's from the kid's perspective,
Yeah.
they had to get a younger person to stand in because they couldn't have these 2
Yeah.
people making out on screen because of the age
Right.
difference.
Sigourney Weaver plays two characters. I'm finding her character. But she plays from the first one, the scientist, and she's like in the
Yeah, yeah.
spiritual world, like with the trees, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then she's basically reincarnated as another being, as an avatar, the Navi thing.
Yeah.
So it's a two separate thing, but she plays both roles. And she's
Okay.
about maybe 16, 17, that character. And she
Okay.
kisses,
But because it's her playing it,
yeah,
she's
and she kisses a
I
boy.
got it.
She kisses a boy. They don't make
Right.
out, they just kiss. Whoop. But
Okay.
it's funny because you see Sigourney Weaver's, I mean, she has a very childlike face, with the special.
Yeah.
So I get where that could be some, quasi controversial, but it wasn't like anything like inappropriate. The teens in love
Okay.
or some crap. But anyway, folks, like I said, I mean, the guy who plays Jake Sully, I can't remember his name. I mean,
I don't remember his name.
so boring. I mean, his character is just, and you just hate all these guys. And here's the thing, and I'll wrap it up now. It ends where it begins. Nothing has changed. There is no major climax. No one dies. No one dies. The main villain, spoiler alert, he just falls off a ledge. Woo! He's not.
So he'll be back.
He's back. Yep. The other villain chick who becomes kind of like his side piece. They let her go. She's going to come back for the fourth one. But like I said, I wasn't going in with high expectations. I was actually, I guess the part that makes me so jarred was like, I'm like, wow, I can't believe James Cameron put this out. I'm like, a part of me feels like he kind of knew it wasn't going to be good because I saw he's been doing interviews like, well, if Avatar 3 doesn't do good, I'm going to sit back. I'll just be a supervisor because I want to do different stuff now. I almost feel like he kind of knows
He knew
his best work.
Yeah.
And like I said, all the visuals and all that crap is the action, blah, blah, blah is fine. But the story, not good. Totally, it's a waste of time. There's no reason. This only should have been one Avatar movie. We all know this. But to give it a score.
This is like the Matrix all over again, where we should have just stopped after the first one.
Yep.
You've achieved your groundbreaking movie and leave it alone, and you don't have to keep going back to this well. So it sounds like to me you're not recommending this movie.
No, I'm not recommending it. I'm actually giving it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. I heard he bought into some AI company or something. He's trying to improve AI. I think that's wild. He's the guy who came up with Terminator and had the machines take over. I think it's crazy that he's trying to do that in real life. But
Yeah.
James Cameron, all we could say is if you're listening to us somewhere on the internet right now, please do something original and stop making Blue Cat movies.
Yeah.
All I can say.
Yeah. I would only recommend it for people who really love Avatar. And if you're seeing it in theaters, you're really a big fan. If not, just wait for streaming. But even that, like I said, I wouldn't even wait for streaming. Just if a 4 comes out, you'll be fine. Trust me, you will be completely fine. You could start it off with 4 and not worry about seeing 3. You're
Right.
totally in the clear. Whew. But PJ, we're moving right along. What's your next film?
I saw a movie called The House Maid.
Yes.
This is a movie with
Sydney Sweeney,
Amanda Seyfried, and Sydney Sweeney. Yeah. So this is not a movie I would have picked on my own, but Jen wanted to see it, so we went to see it. No big deal. I can, look at those two people for 2 hours and be entertained. Sydney Sweeney's not bad to look at. It's based on a book that I never read, and I probably never will. So just calling it like I see it. So for me, I have nothing to compare it to. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, well, it's bad because it's not like I have no idea. I just know it as a movie. And basically the plot of this movie is there's this rich family, Amanda Seyfried and her husband, who, I don't know the guy's name, but he was in the movie Drop, which I also saw this year. And I think we spoke about it in an earlier episode. He plays the husband. Amanda Seyfried is the wife, and they hire a housemaid, and the housemaid is Sydney Sweeney. And as she moves in as a live-in housemaid, and it's just like the wife just starts going crazier and crazier, threatening to fire her, accuses her of stealing stuff. It's just like she's like slipping into this slow, mad descent right throughout the whole movie. And you're like, well, man, when we first met this lady, she seemed normal. This bitch is nuts.
Right.
and right? And she does an excellent job of playing a batshit crazy person. Like,
Yeah.
it's very believable. Amanda Seyfried's a great
Oh,
actress,
yeah.
so,
Oh, yeah.
she does a really great job of playing someone who's a psychopath, and Sydney Sweeney is not known for being the best actress in the world, but she is very serviceable in this part, right? And the guy who plays the husband also does a pretty good job. And as the wife gets crazier, the husband, he's like, "It's okay, I'll calm her down, you're not gonna lose your job, whatever." She's an ex-con. In the beginning, you don't know why she was arrested, we just know she got out of prison
Mhm.
for something, and she's on parole, so if she's not having a job with a place to live, she's gonna go back to prison. But at that, like I said, in the beginning, you don't know why she's there, you just know she was. So there's a daughter that lives in the house, and she has to take care of the daughter, pick her up for school and stuff like that. So what the wife will do is she'll be like, "Can you pick up our daughter from dance class at 3 o'clock?" And then she'll go to pick up the daughter, and the daughter's friends will be there and be like, "No, she's coming back to our house for a sleepover tonight." And she'd be like, "No, I was just told by my boss that I have to pick her up." And then they call her, and she's like, "I never told you to do that." What, like, just completely gaslighting her.
Mm.
Right? So, and again, they do a good job of playing that off, and eventually, you could see the husband's getting fed up with his wife being crazy, and spoiler alert,
Oh.
starts to, get a little frisky with Sydney Sweeney. You see all of Sydney Sweeney's bits and pieces.
Ow.
You see them all. Yeah, they are out on full display, just like for a while.
Huh.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Yeah, for a while. She is not shy about hiding them, I'll tell you that. Like, she's really like, "Hey, you wanna see him again?"
Right.
That's really, and then, there are more twists and turns. I don't wanna spoil anything because this is also a fairly new movie, but
Yeah.
this is pretty much the setup of the movie, and there are more twists and turns to the characters and crazy things that happen, and you meet a couple of other people along the way. Look, like I said, I don't wanna spoil too much of it because these are movies that only came out within, like, the last 2 weeks, so I don't wanna give away the ending. Not a bad movie. Would I say go to the theater to see the movie? I maybe wouldn't see it in the theater, but I would give it like a 6 out of 10. And if you were at home and it was on streaming, like on Netflix or some shit,
Mhm.
and you're like, I'll check it out or whatever. I don't think I didn't sit through the movie. I'm like, this is terrible. I just sat through the movie and it was fine. It was a fine movie.
Yeah.
Some of it, like I said, the acting was pretty good. And some of it where you're like, oh wow, she really sells crazy. Like, really does a good job of it. It's not going to win any awards, but I don't think it's. I mean, it sounds to me like it's better than Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a psychological thriller. It's not straight up horror or anything like that. Just
Right.
like a psychological kind of.
Yeah. Would you say it's predictable? Were you able to kind of guess, like, oh, I think it's going to happen, or were you kind of like, oh, all right, all
You know
right,
what? I didn't figure out the ending on
okay,
this one. I actually thought I knew what the ending was gonna be, and it wasn't.
okay.
I mean, it wasn't. If you read the book, you probably would know. I
Mhm.
had never read the book, so I don't think it was super, super predictable. There was some stuff in there, and I was like, "Oh, shit, I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming."
Yeah. I always.
They have some cool, like, I wouldn't call it gore. It's not like a gory movie, but there are some cool a little bit of, like, bloody scenes and
Yeah.
stuff like that where you're like, "Oh, shit, that looked pretty cool." They did
Mhm.
some quasi horror stuff in there. So, yeah, it was not a bad movie. I wasn't mad that I saw it.
Okay. Yeah. I always feel like kind of like a rule of thumb for me. If I'm watching a movie, I go, I want to see how this ends. It doesn't mean I love the movie or
Yeah.
I think it's mind blowing. It just
Right,
if I have that
exactly.
feeling, like, okay, then it's worth watching. Even if it's a one time. All
Yeah,
right, that's fine.
absolutely. I was interested enough to see how it was gonna get to the ending.
Yeah. What sounds you're just recommending for streaming? Did you give it a score?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I would give it like a 6 out of 10.
oh,
I
you
think
said that.
I wanted yeah, I wanted to see how it ended. That's a great way of putting it. I was watching it, I wasn't mad that I was watching it, intrigued to see how they were gonna wrap it all up.
Nice. Well done. The next one I want to talk about is Predator Badlands.
Okay?
I'm actually a little excited to talk about this. I love Predator. I love the original Predator. It's still the best one in the franchise.
Mhm.
So I'll just say with this Predator is, I'll say, like, a league of its own. And what I mean by that, like, this takes a totally different direction. It's a different type of tone, you know? So I'll say this movie is not really made for guys like me who are like, love the original and
Right.
like Predator 2. I don't really like Predator 2. I think people overrate that one. I think the ending of Predator 2 is what saves that film, no question.
Mhm.
And I'm a fan of Alien versus Predator. I do like that one. I like Predator.
Yeah, the first one's fun.
Yeah.
It's not great, but
Yeah,
it's fun.
exactly. I like Predators, like that one with God, the guy who was playing Adrian Brody, him, and
Mhm.
the other ones I don't want to talk about. The Predator was horrendous, and Requiem we know was awful as well. But anyway,
Mhm.
yeah.
And the animated series
Oh yeah,
the animated movie,
yeah, we
we
talked
we
about,
spoke about that.
yeah, exactly. Which was the
Yeah.
first two segments were great, and after that, whoop.
Right.
So this movie is actually kind of more like that third segment, PJ, but
Oh,
better,
no.
but better. So just to give you the premise of it, it basically starts off with on the Predator home planet, okay? And it's two predators going fighting with one another, and you find out they're brothers, and they're basically kind of like sparring, you know? And the main character is the young predator. I forgot his name, but the younger brother's the main
Right.
character of the film. The older brother's like, look, man, you got to learn how to, you know, fight better, all that stuff. Because in their culture, you find out in their culture, it's very much like, if you can't, run with the rest of the pack, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna kill you.
Right.
So long story.
They don't speak English, the Predators.
No. They have their
Okay.
own language. They have subtitles
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So anyway, like I said, that kind of stuff, that opening sparring, and then when they get back to their headquarters, they'll say their house, their dad shows up, and their dad goes like, "Look, son, you didn't cut it." He's basically gonna kill his son. He tells his older son, "You have to kill your younger brother," right? And his younger brother's like, "No, no, 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 no." He's like begging for his life. So the other brother's like I ain't gonna do that to my brother, and tries to kill his own father, and father kills him, and then the younger predator escapes. In a scene before that, spoiler alert, sorry folks, this is just a setup. The way to kind of prove himself is in their culture is you have to go to a planet and you have to come back with some type of game. You have to kill like
Right.
an elephant or whatever it is. The younger brother says before he, seen earlier, he tells his brother like, "Oh, I'm gonna try the most impossible thing to get." And he's like, "Well, that's like it's called the Death Planet. It's what it's known as." He's like, "No one can get it. There's tons of predators who try to go there and they never make it back. Don't even try it." So anyway, when he escapes, he goes to that planet to try to get this massive beast that if he comes back with this, everyone's
Right.
going to earn his respect. He'll gain his father's respect and the respect of the tribe. So, but the beginning is really starts off strong. The best comparison we have any Dragon Ball Z fans, it reminds me of the beginning of Dragon Ball Broly, that film.
Okay.
The first 15 minutes of that film is excellent. The rest of it is kind of, but the first few minutes of that movie is great. And this kind of has that same thing, really good opening. And then when we get to that planet, it's funny because it kind of reminds me of the Avatar. It's actually,
Oh, no.
you think of a death planet, it's actually there's rivers, it's actually quite beautiful, but a lot of the animals and the plants are very deadly,
When I think of a death planet, I kind of want to see like fire and
Exactly. And the
brimstone
funny
and
thing
like
is,
dead
and the
plant.
funny
Yeah.
thing is, the planet the predators live on is actually scarier looking. It's all desert, it's rocks, it's
Right.
dusty, it's smelly, it's
Yeah, I
cloudy.
thought they were on the death planet.
Yeah.
I thought that was their thing.
Yeah. And the death planet is actually quite beautiful looking, and it's besides everything.
So there are no humans in this movie.
Well, there is humans.
Okay.
So anyway, when he's on this planet, he's trying to find that beast that he's trying to kill, and he runs into an android, and this also ties in. They're combining both. They've done this in the past. The alien world.
Combining Alien again, right?
Wayland's, and then he meets an android. I forgot the character's name. Oh, one of the Fanning sisters. I think Dakota Fanning. One of them, Ellie Fanning, I think it is.
Okay.
And her body's basically ripped in half, but because she's a robot, basically, she could still speak. So she's able to translate. She's kind of like C-3PO. She can speak different languages.
Okay.
And she says to Predator, look, you help me, I help you. You help me bring me back to my spaceship where I can get him some new legs, and I'll help you find the beast that you're looking for. So they agree to work together. So while they're on this planet, they're working together. And like I said, this isn't your, Schwarzenegger Predator. This is a PG-13 movie. So this basically is Star Wars. This feels like Grogu and The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I was gonna say this doesn't sound like what I want out of a Predator
This
movie
feels
at
like
all.
Han Solo hanging out with Chewbacca. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's the kind of tone this movie is. So this is not
I
that
just
kind
want
of,
my Predator to be like the ultimate hunter, and he's hunting a prey, and that's what I want the whole movie to be.
and I haven't seen Prey. That's funny you said that. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
My goal is to see that because that sounds like totally. It's the same director, I believe, and
Yeah, I think it is.
so this is a total.
But it sounds like a completely different movie.
Yeah, and I think Prey had more of the tone from like the '87 one, where this one is definitely taking the more. This one's made for. They're aiming towards kids, like kids who maybe late elementary to middle school.
Really?
It's like a
It's for
Star.
an audience that
Yeah,
young?
so it's
Ugh.
just really just more of that kind of tone. Like there's no blood in it. Like when at one point when they are fighting humans, they're just other androids. You just see like I think it's yellow or oil comes out, whatever the
Right.
it's inside the androids. So anyway, they team up, and what happened? I give you the whole movie here, folks. They team up, and they gotta try to kill this beast. And there's a little bit of a twist with the beast that he's trying to catch, which basically he ends up finding a baby version of it, which is kind of Grogu. I'll just to make life easy, just give it a
Yeah.
comparison. Look, it's a fun movie overall. I can't say anything truly negative. It's well done. It's well made. Like I said, it's not. The tone is consistent. You're not going to get the Schwarzenegger kind of vibe here. This is
I
Star Wars
just
Predator.
in my mind, and obviously I haven't seen this one yet,
Mhm.
but it just does not sound like I'm gonna like it. I really just want my predators to hunt people, and I wanna see it like, that first one to me is my
Oh,
favorite.
of
I mean, I
course,
think it's
dude.
everyone's favorite, and I just want Predator to be like that. I don't want it to be a kids movie. I wanna see predators killing people.
Yeah, and you're not gonna get that because at one point, where I thought was gonna happen, like I said, some spoilers here. His laser cannons, the pirate cannon, or
Yeah.
it gets stolen from this team of scientists, and the android herself has a twin sister, which is just another copy of her. And in terms of
Okay.
an android, but that android's
Right.
more vicious, more programmed to be more analytical, where the one that helps Predator is supposed to be more, I'll say sensitive, you know?
Right, right.
So, anyway, that the other android brings a team of, I think 1 or 2 humans, and the rest is a fleet of just androids. And, anyway, they get his laser cannon, and I was hoping during the climax of the film, like, oh man, he's gonna get the cannon, he's gonna get the turn invisible and really start whipping ass. And he actually never does, this Predator. I think
Hmm.
in this movie you feel that there's a setup for another movie where I guess he will have that moment. I was kind of hoping you would get it in this
Right.
movie, but you don't. But yeah, I mean, with his female counterpart, the android. Look, I don't understand how an android would be able, the way she speaks in it, she does great acting. That's not the issue. It's just I don't think I can't imagine an android being very quippy or going like doing that kind of cringe humor. I don't think android possess
Right.
that kind of, I think the best way to show
Yeah.
an android might have a little bit of a little bit of a zip would be C3PO. He has that in him, you know.
Or even like, I don't know if you kind of like the what the hell's the name of that movie? Rogue One,
Yeah,
K2SO.
that.
Like that
Yeah,
sort of like
it's you feel the limitations of it. This one I feel like, well, it
right.
sounds like she's just a human being at this point, completely human being. Like
Yeah.
I don't
I don't love that
Yeah.
either. Yeah.
So, and like I said, a lot of the action just feels very video gamey at one point.
Mm.
And I don't know what else to say. This is not a bad movie. It's like I said, this is basically Star Wars meets Predator, just inserted. And at the end of the movie, you feel like, oh, they're making Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Predator he's gonna team up with the android chick and his new Chewbacca, I'll call him, and or Groot, if you want to call it that. And that's it. Like I said, it's a fine movie. Would I recommend it? Yeah, yeah, I would see it. I would. It's fine. Like I said, it's don't expect to see Arnold Schwarzenegger type vibe
Right.
tone. If you like Star Wars, you're gonna like this. If you're into the Mandalorian, you're gonna like this. But just know what it is.
If you want a Predator
This is
movie,
not
this is
no,
not a
this is not a
Predator
Predator
movie.
movie.
Got it.
Kind of movie.
Marvel just did a comic book, Predator versus Spider-Man, and just only because 'cause we're talking about Predator, I'll just bring it up real quick because it has that Predator vibe that you want where he's trying to hunt
Yep.
a a worthy prey, which is Spider-Man, but then Kraven gets involved because Kraven's always trying to hunt the biggest prey, and now Kraven's trying to hunt the
Predator.
Predator while the Predator's
Oh,
trying to
there you
hunt
go.
Spider-Man. It's like it has that feel of like what a Predator movie should be,
Yeah.
in my opinion, and it sounds like this movie doesn't have that tone, which makes me think I'm not gonna like it. I mean, I might watch it when it's streaming. I don't think I'm gonna go to the theater. Is it streaming already or
It
no?
has to be. It has to be. I
Okay.
would give it, I think, to be fair, 7.5. It's not a bad movie.
It's not bad. That's not
The
terrible.
music's cool. They don't do
Yeah.
like the Silvestri one. It's more like
Right.
this, like the kind of like Gregorian chant kind of thing, like very tribal-esque. But it's fine. I would look, if you're a Predator fan, I think you would enjoy it overall. You're not gonna be like, oh wow, I love this. You're gonna be like, all right, it's fine.
Right.
And that's why I just wait for streaming. I think it's definitely better than the animated film, and I think it's better than
Well, I
the
mean, it would
Predator.
be hard pressed for it to be
Yeah, it's
worse.
better than the Predator. It's better than Requiem. It's
Okay.
it's fine. That's all. Like it's fine. So would I recommend it for streaming? Sure. If you want to get your kids maybe into Predator, start with this, and then as they get older,
Okay.
show them that. I mean,
You could
you and I,
show them the good ones when they get
yeah,
old
you and
enough.
I
All
both
right.
start off with the original Predator at like age
Yeah, we
5,
started off as kids watching
right?
the original one.
So we turned out okay, but yeah, that's it, guys. That's it.
We turned out all right, I guess. I guess you're right. We could be worse. Uh,
So PJ, what do you got next?
the next one I'll talk about is a movie called Eternity.
Okay.
And this is starring Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, another dude who I don't know, and a couple other people who I recognize by their face and I could have been more prepared and wrote down all the actors' names, but they're just not important
Right,
enough
right.
in the movie. They have very small roles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the overall premise of this movie is it starts off and there's these two old people driving to, I guess it's their granddaughter's like reveal party, gender reveal
Uh,
party. And there's these old people and they're kind of like bickering as an old married couple might bicker. And the guy doesn't really want to go. And he's like, you know how many people die at these things? There's always an accident. People always dying at gender reveal parties. The wife is like, you just hate things. You just always want to hate things, whatever. And they're just like old people fighting. And it's very cute. This is a rom-com, by the way.
what?
Yeah, I would consider this movie a
Oh,
rom-com.
okay. I was not okay. For
Yeah.
the way you were going, I'm like, oh man, maybe this is like okay. I was totally off. Okay, so the
Yeah,
rom com.
yeah, right.
Wow.
It is a rom-com, but I really actually wanted to see it because I thought the premise was so great. So they get to the reveal party or whatever, and now they're there with their family and they're talking. And one of the kids, one of the granddaughters, whatever, goes to the old lady and she's like, "Grandma, I found some of your old pictures in the attic or whatever." And they're looking through them, and she's like, "But who is this guy that you're with?" And she goes, "Oh, that's my first husband. He died in the war or whatever." As this is going on, they show the picture to the older guy and he's eating a pretzel and he starts to choke and then cut to black. And the next thing you know, he's on a train. And now the train is bringing him to the afterlife. So he
Wow.
winds up dying.
Ah.
Yeah, he winds up dying. Yeah. So now the whole plot is like, well, what happens when you die? You have to choose your eternity.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's like a big
Oh,
train.
I
Yeah,
like
it's like a big
this.
train
Okay, so a
station in
little
a way.
bit of
Yeah.
Twilight Zones because I was saying this movie feels like because when you were something, oh man, is this like a sci-fi kind of thing? But okay, I like this. I like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now that you take the train into Penn Station,
Right.
right? Like this big train station with all these, and it's almost set up like a job fair,
Mm.
right? And there's all these booths with different eternities that you can choose, and they're trying to sell you on their
Huh.
eternity. Yeah, and this guy has no idea what's going on, right? He's like, "Where am I?" At this point, he doesn't
Realize he's dead.
he knows
Right.
nothing. He doesn't realize he's dead, and everyone keeps telling him he's running up to people like, "Where am I? Where's my wife? Where's this?" And they're like, "Your AC will explain everything to you. Your AC will." And he's like, "What does that mean?" No one knows what that means. Eventually, he meets his AC, which is his afterlife coordinator, and then she basically explains like, "You're dead." She shows him a reflection of himself, and he's gone from being an old man to being Miles Teller.
I see.
And she's like, "Well, why am I so young?" He's like, "Well, in eternity, you look like the happiest version of yourself, like who you like when you were your happiest in life. That's how you should spend your eternity.
Mm.
You just have to pick where you want to go. You have 7 days to pick where you want to go." And he's like, "Well, I'm not going anywhere. I want to wait for my wife." And you find out that she has terminal cancer.
Uh,
So he's like, "She doesn't have that much time left. I want to wait for her so that we can be together for eternity." And she's like, "That's not how this works.
Mm.
You just have to pick where you want to go." And he's like, "Well, I'm not going to pick." And basically leaves, right? Leaves his afterlife coordinator and he stumbles into like a bar. And the bartender kind of explains things to him, right? And he's like, maybe they didn't tell you, but you have to. You have to pick an eternity. You have 7 days to do this. And if you don't, like, you're stuck. Like, you have to.
right.
And he gives him the rules or whatever of the afterlife. And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna wait." He's like, "Well, how come you people here?" And you're like, "Well, you can get a job here if you don't want to take an eternity and you want to be in the train station or whatever. You can get a job and live here and never pick an eternity, but you have to work
Mm.
if you do that." So he's like, "Well, maybe I'll do that." And he's coming up with like his plan of
Yeah.
how he's gonna meet his wife. And eventually, he's like, "Maybe I should just pick an eternity." And he's like, he writes a note for his afterlife coordinator. She's like, "If you find my wife when she passes, give her this note so she knows where I am, so she can find me." As he's going to give her that note or whatever, she goes, "I can't do that. That's against the rules." I'm like, "I can't take it."
Wow.
So she doesn't take it. And he's just like, "Well, I guess I have to go to my eternity." So he is about to board like his train to his eternity and he sees his wife. She dies.
Uh,
So he runs around, he finds her or whatever. And she's like, "I'm here," and they're talking or whatever. And she's like, "I don't understand any of this." She's like, "What's happening? What's happening?" She's like, "Well, you'll meet your afterlife coordinator and he'll explain everything." It turns out the afterlife coordinator that she has is also the afterlife coordinator for her first husband, the soldier that died.
yeah.
So now he's like, "Don't make any hasty decisions," because now he's trying to help his other client or whatever. So you finally meet who her first husband is. It's the bartender.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna spoil this, but this came out months ago, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna give more spoilers for this one because this is not that new. And then from here, it kind of becomes like a contest of she has to choose
Which husband she's gonna choose the rest.
which husband she's gonna spend eternity with. Because once you pick
That's
one,
it. No,
they tell you in the movie, that's it. You can't come back. If you try to escape your eternity, you get sent to like the
right.
abyss.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You can't escape your eternity. And so the whole thing now is like she has to decide, do I want to stay with the guy who I never got to have a life with because he died in the war, or am I going to spend eternity with the guy I had a family with?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it's like a heartfelt sort of touching
Yeah.
movie and plot. You know
Of
what I mean? Like it's
course.
not.
Yeah.
It's funny. There are jokes in it. And they're corny rom-com
Yeah.
jokes. You know what I mean? But they land. Some of them land.
Mhm.
I thought the concept of the movie is what sold it for me
Oh,
because I wanted to see
absolutely.
this in the
Yeah.
theaters. I was like, this seems like such like a good idea. Like it's you don't usually
Yeah.
see. I've never seen a movie where this was
Yeah.
the plot before. It felt very original, very new. The acting was fine. They gave well, I guess she chose to do this weird accent, Elizabeth Olsen, to make her sound like how an old person would talk because when she died, I guess she was an she's an old lady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was a after a while, like this accent she chose, this like old lady
Right. Right. Right.
affect got very annoying. That was if I'm gonna give it a negative, that to me was a very big negative
Sure.
because it was like, I'm like, "Can you just talk normal?" Like, this that got annoying. I understood the choice she was making, I just didn't like it.
Right.
But the rest of it was fine. It was a very, like, heartwarming, touching movie, and, so now they changed the rules. They make an exception for it because they're like, "No one's ever really been in this situation here before." They're like, "So we're gonna let you have an eternity. You can experience 1 week of eternity with each of your
Whoa.
husbands,
Right.
and then you have to pick. And then you have to pick. Like, that's it. We'll give you this opportunity
Yeah.
because this is such a crazy choice you have to make for an endless amount of time." And so then, she's with both of them trying to figure out who she wants to be with. And again, spoilers. I'm gonna spoil the shit out of it on this one because I really, really enjoyed this
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
and I just want to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Sounds
Yeah.
great.
So after she experiences the two eternities or whatever, she can't pick, and she says, "The eternity I choose is to not be with either one of you because I can't do this." She's like, "I just can't choose." And I forget which one it was, which of the husbands. She goes, "So instead of hurting one person, you're going to hurt three." And her response was, "There was never going to be one hurt person."
Mm. Yeah.
Because she's like, "I could not
Yeah.
live with either
Yeah.
choice
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
made." And so now she picks where she's gonna go. And, the second husband, the old man that's
Yeah.
Miles Teller, as he's thinking things through, he realizes that, like, her hair he realizes something about her hair. She goes, "That's the hair that she had when she was with her first husband."
Mm.
And he thinks back to when they said to him, "You come back as your happiest version."
Yeah.
So he realizes, well, if that's how she comes back, then she should be
Yeah.
with him. So he has to rush to where her train station is, and he's like, "Listen, it's fine. Be with him. That's where you belong. Try to live the life you never got to have." And she goes off with the first husband. I thought this is where the movie was going to end.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, the movie doesn't end there.
Oh.
Now you watch her in eternity with this guy, and every day she's a little less happy, and a
Oh.
little less happy, and a little less happy. And she realizes, she's like, "We were kids, really. We never had any struggles that we had to get through. We didn't have a family. We didn't have all these experiences.
Yeah.
I should be with the other guy." And he understands, and he has to help her escape because they tell you can't switch
Yeah.
eternities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he helps her escape, and then she gets back to basically where that train station is, and everyone's trying to find her.
Right. Right.
Right, and she eventually runs into the same bar to hide, and she's like, basically she needs a drink or whatever, and bartender turns around,
Yeah. It's Miles Teller.
and it's Miles Teller, yeah, and they get to live their eternity together, and that's kind of where it ends at that point. It was a very sweet movie. It was a very heartfelt
Yeah.
movie. It was a unique, interesting, new idea that I hadn't seen. Not usually a rom-com person, but this didn't feel like your
Yeah.
traditional, like,
Exactly. This had
it
a.
didn't feel like your traditional, like, your best friend's wedding
Yeah.
sort of rom-com. It had a much deeper
Yeah.
sort of plot line to it. I really, really, really enjoyed it and would recommend watching
Yeah,
it.
dude, that sounds like a beautiful film. I want to see it now, and it just
Yeah.
feels like a Twilight Zone. That's like wrote like a with romance in it. And Twilight Zone episodes don't always have to
Yeah.
be like this dark, twisted thing. It can just be
Right, right,
very
right,
just like this a dilemma. What do you do? You know, what
right.
love of your life do you
Yeah,
choose? Yeah, man. And you explained that really well too. Thank you for sharing it. Did it so well.
yeah, if I have to give it a score out of 10, maybe like a 7, 7.5. It's not the best movie ever. It does have some of the rom-com tropes that everyone's
Yep.
expecting. Overall, very enjoyable, and worth watching for sure. I mean, for me, one of the movies I like the most, not that they're similar in any way, but one of the movies I really like the most is a Robin, Williams movie, What Dreams
Yep.
May
Oh
Come,
yeah.
where, his wife in that movie dies and he sees her in the paintings and, like, that's her afterlife. Not that this is the same vibe or tone of that movie, but the idea of an afterlife and
Yes.
all that stuff. I always like those sort of movies. I feel like they could be very deep, dark,
Yeah.
and uplifting at the same time, and it has sort of that idea to
Yeah,
it, I think.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, you did a great job really painting that whole picture. Sounds really good. So, what we went to an afterlife talking about Wake Up Dead Man. So, I know I need your help with this on PJ. I don't, you haven't seen it, but
Okay.
I need your help maybe processing it because
Okay.
everything about this movie, like it works. Like the acting is great. Casting's all different type of A-list
Right.
casting, good directing. It's well written, and at the same time, there's a part of me that just felt like I don't know the right word is disappointed or just like I don't know,
Mhm.
lost. And look, I'm not picking on Ryan Johnson because the whole Star Wars thing. I really enjoyed the first Knives Out. Number one, I think the one is still first the best.
I think the first one is the best one,
Glass
yeah.
Onion, I didn't like at all. Really, I just thought it was
I thought it took such, like, I felt like the first one had this, like, unique concept and this
yep,
great idea, and it was almost like Clue in a way, and it was
yes,
very fun, and then I felt like the second one had a completely different feel and tone and vibe that I
yeah,
didn't like because it didn't feel as connected to the first one the way I wanted it to. I understand it wasn't the same people, but I thought it would be the same idea,
yeah.
like, doing that again, and it
Yeah,
wasn't.
and let me just give you a somewhat very basic plot. It stars Daniel Craig. He's Benoit Blanc. He's the detective. He's our Sherlock Holmes.
Yep,
And it takes place basically. Maybe think it's upstate New York, perhaps. I'm not even sure, but regardless, look, there's a murder, right? It takes place with a bunch of priests. One of the Josh Brolin's
yep.
character gets murdered. He's the main priest, and you have to figure out who murdered him. Like I said,
A lot of great people in the
yeah, you
cast for
got
this
Glenn
movie.
Close, Jeremy Renner, Josh O'Connor. He's like the main character. Kerry Washington. I mean,
Yeah. Thomas
yep,
Hayden Church is
yep,
in it.
him,
Love that
he's
guy.
great. Yeah, everyone, that's not the issue. It looks good, good acting, all that stuff. It's a little unique because you don't see actually Daniel Craig's character till like almost a half hour into the film, maybe a little more than that, almost 40 minutes. You don't
Hmm,
see him because it's beginning started with the priest um
right.
reading a letter, kind of recapping how they got to this point.
Okay.
It's a lot of that. I don't, it's like I said, it's like I'm almost kind of hard to. I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking here, but I guess my biggest issue is like you said, BJ. The first one had it really felt like a true mystery. I was like, huh. I was like, I was really trying to figure it out, and I didn't guess. I couldn't guess in the first one who did it.
Yeah,
I
no, me either. I thought the first one was really good. I couldn't guess.
yep,
I was into the
yep,
idea of the mystery, trying to figure it
yep.
out along with
hmm
him.
And then with the second one, I within like the first 20 minutes, I was like, oh, it's definitely Edward Norton. I just knew it. I just
Right.
knew it. Like, I mean, it's got to be him. It was so obvious. And
Right.
with this one, I knew who it was. Well, there's
Right.
a little twist to that too. I'll give you this spoiler. There's actually two people who do it together. They team up.
Okay.
So not just one murderer, it's two killers. But here's the thing, folks. Part of me that just felt kind of frustrated. I understand it's a mystery film. You got to have these twists and turns and, subverting expectations, all that stuff. But it came a point I was just like, you know, Ryan, because at one point even Mila Kunis' character goes like, "All right," because he at one point Benoit Blanc can't figure it out, or he does all those things. She
Right.
goes like, "What was the point of all this?" And then you still have another hour left. Oh my god, this movie's almost 3 hours, and you feel it. I don't. I guess with the part, like I said, I have a hard time. That's why I'm asking for your help. Tell me process this and maybe articulate. It's like I feel like just someone's just kind of telling me the whole movie. Like I'm like, all right, just tell me what happened at one point. I'm just like, you know what, bro? Can you wrap this up now? Just look, okay, you tricked me. You win,
Yeah,
Ryan. Tell me
right.
how it happens so I can get out of here now. Like, I want to know who killed him. Can you please tell me how
You
it's
know,
just something about it just feels very exhausting and dragged out. And like I said, it has nothing to do with like the dialogue is fine. Like nothing about it's cringy. And I know there's a big controversy because he made a small joke about, not even a joke about Star Wars. He's mentioned Star Wars. People make a big deal out of it. That's whoever's saying that needs
the
to get a life.
part of the problem is I'm looking at the runtime of this movie, and it's like 2.5 hours. And sometimes a movie has too much time to you get lost in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you would chop that down to 2 hours instead of 2.5, maybe you leave out some of the fluff. It makes the mystery a little easier
Yes.
to follow. I think there's two ways to do these kind of movies. There's the mystery route where you don't know what's going on
Mhm.
and you're trying to figure out along with the detective, right?
Mhm.
The other route, which no one seems to do anymore, and I'm almost wondering if for Knives Out this would be a better route, is the Columbo route.
Yes.
If you know from the beginning who the person is, right? We
Right.
know. You tell me right up front, this guy
Yep.
did it. And now the movie is about Blanc trying to just watching him try to figure it out, where I don't have to figure it out along with him. The way those old Columbo shows were set up, maybe that would be a better take on how to do these sort of movies. Because if you make it so that I can guess it right away, then the problem becomes, well, I don't want to watch the rest because if I figured it out, how has this guy not figured it out? And now you're like, this is just tedious.
Yeah.
It becomes tedious, right? You're like, I already know who did
Yep.
this. This guy doesn't know who did this. And I'm waiting for him to catch up to me. And I don't want
Yep.
that. I want to have to catch up to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
And so I'm wondering if a Columbo route for a movie like this would have been better, where they show you the crime and now we got to figure out how does he get to this point,
Mhm.
and to watch him do the investigation and seeing if he finds the same clues and all this other shit. Maybe that would be a better route for this. Instead of just making this a mystery movie that we figure out within the first half hour of the movie, 40 minutes of the movie, and now we got 2 hours of just him bumbling around when I already know the answer. That's my opinion on these
Yeah,
things.
and yeah, that's a really great recommendation. Like I'm just doing the Columbo route. It
Yeah.
just for me, it just felt like, oh my god! All right, just tell me what happened. It's kind of like when you're reading a newspaper article and you're like, all right, you just skip to the last paragraph. Okay, how did they
Yeah,
solve the crime? Did they catch the
exactly.
guy? You don't really
Right.
care about the rest of
Right.
the police pursuit. You really just want to. So, did you catch him already? And it's like almost
Right.
when I was watching it, like I said, it wasn't like having this dreadful time. But I said there was a point I was just going like, all right, kind of like I just wasn't even like I guess it was I don't know what the right word is bored. I was
'Cause
just getting restless. I'm like,
Yeah, because you already have an idea of
yeah,
what it is. So if you already know, who cares how this guy solves it unless that's the point. I found that like with the second one, the same thing. I'm like, almost
yeah,
immediately. You're like, well, now I gotta watch the but they don't tell you. So
hmm
it's like, am I wrong? Do I have to watch? I wanted to be wrong when I watched. I haven't seen the third
yeah,
one, but when I watched the second one, I wanted to be wrong
hmm
because I wanted to be like, well, at least then there was a reason for me to watch this. It sounds to me like with this one again, there's actually no reason to watch it because and the investigation is just meh.
yeah. I guess that the choice is that you find there was two people involved,
Two people.
but I definitely knew who the
Yeah.
first one was. Like, oh my ass,
Yeah.
probably that person, and I don't know. It just felt, and I think the other part is like it never really felt like a mystery to me because I felt like I was just getting told, well, this isn't true. It's actually this. And I understand it's a mystery film, so I get all that, but I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't really click with me like the first one. The second one, I just thought was
Yeah.
too. I don't know what the right. It was too over the top and
Also,
clune.
this is a great example of a franchise that could have ended after one and been a great one and done
Yeah,
independent piece of
yeah,
cinema. It didn't need to become a
yeah.
franchise.
And I think what are we gonna do? Get David Fincher to make a movie like this, where it really has like that? Like
Eh,
I don't know if it's like the tone of the film or like I just think about movies like The Usual Suspects or Zodiac or A Girl with the Dragon Tail, where you really feel like a detective. Like I feel like if
right.
you took that and I understand it's like a comedy, quasi thing. It tries to be deep, but
Yeah.
anyway, like I said, I'm not really sure what I'm even saying here at this point. But do I think it's a bad movie? No. Do I think it's a great movie? No. I mean, it's only on Netflix now anyway, so this is definitely a
Right.
movie watched on
I didn't
Netflix.
rush to watch this one because the second one was just so blah that I was like,
It's better than the
I don't
second
need to
one,
see
which
this.
is that same one, but
Okay.
to give it a score, I think to be fair, give maybe 7. That's it.
All right. It's not the worst.
Because I said everything, because the acting is good, and I mean, I'll give Ryan Johnson credit for this. Writing this must be exhausting, having all these twists. I mean, that's his own prerogative,
Right.
thank God bless him. But like I said, just something about it just felt like, oh my, it just felt like little exhausting.
Look, the Ryan Johnson catalog is not my favorite. I think I like one of
I
his movies, so I don't
I'm
know.
I would like for him to co-write this movie with someone else. I'm curious how it would come out, just in terms of pacing and,
I'm just
maybe comedic beats, because there's some jokes in it.
I'm
And
just
in this
looking
one,
at the things that he's
like the
done. I don't I I think he did Looper,
Yeah, he
right?
did
He did
Looper.
Looper,
Yeah,
Ryan Johnson?
because the first one I did laugh a lot in that one, and the second one I didn't laugh.
Yeah.
I thought the second one was more cringy, and this humor in this one's fine. I was just kind of like I said, not really sure what to put the words into it.
Yeah.
If this is the last Knives Out, I'm fine with that. That's fine.
And it should be, because Benoit Blanc is never gonna be a long-standing
Yeah,
character that
and
people care about
he's
in
not
20
really
years.
in this movie too. He's the best character. He's not really
Right.
much, and he's not really in this movie as much. He's really like a
Hmm.
secondary character. But yep, that's I guess if you like the Knives Out films, watch it. Other than that, I don't know. I guess if you're in the you want to just pop something on, I guess. But other than that, I'll just stick to the
Yep.
first one. That's all I got, PJ. And I think you have your last film.
Alright. I have one last film. Again, this was something I saw as a screen unseen. It's called We Bury the Dead, which is a horror thriller movie starring Daisy Ridley, who, speaking of Ryan Johnson and
Right.
Star Wars. Yep. And the other person in this movie that you may know is Brenton Thwaites. He played Nightwing on the Titans live action show that was on HBO Max. This was
That's not a good sign when you do an
Yeah.
exhale.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna bury the lead on this. This is a bad movie. This is you can't sugarcoat it. So basically the idea of this movie is there was some sort of like, I don't know if it's a nuclear bomb or some sort of germ warfare thing that accidentally goes off in, I think it's Tasmania or
Yeah.
Tanzania, some shit. And anyone who is in that area, that a certain radius, instantly they're dead. Right. Okay. The problem is sometimes they come back to life. Sounds like this could be an interesting start to a movie. So basically, the movie starts off with Daisy Ridley trying to get to this country so she could join the search and rescue and identification team because she wants to find her husband who was on a business trip there, and she wants to be able to find it. So they put her on the team to go identify these bodies, and they're basically going into homes and trying to find the people. And it's basically monitored by the army. And if you see any of these people that are come back to life, you shoot off a flare and they will put down, for lack of a better term, the zombie.
Right.
Here is the thing. They tell you right up front, the lights are on with these zombies, but nobody's home. They won't hurt you. They're just going to stand there. They might look at you. They might walk around a little bit, but they're docile and they're not violent.
Right.
So you're not going to have to worry about it. But if you see them, light the flare so we can put them down a second time so these people could just rest, be done. And so this is the setup of the movie, right? And she says, well, how do I get to this part of the map? That's where my husband is. And they tell her basically, well, we're not there yet. We're working our way that way. When we get there, we'll get there. You know, we can't skip ahead to that because things haven't been cleared or whatever, and we don't know if it's safe, blah, 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 the whole shit, right? So she's identifying these bodies and they're coming back to life and they are not doing anything. They're literally just standing there. And she meets Nightwing. Ray Skywalker meets
Right.
Nightwing. And now they're identifying the bodies and she's like, hey, will you help me escape? And from the army's like monitoring me and help me find my husband. And he's just like, okay.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, we'll steal a motorcycle.
Right.
And so they steal a motorcycle and then they're heading to where the husband, like the movie's an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
it's very short. This is the rapid pace. We get there. She finds out what she has to do. They clear out one house. She's like, can we steal this motorcycle and go find my husband? For no reason at all. Nightwing's just like, yeah, we could do that. It's like just rapid pace. He gets to they eventually like are driving now to where the husband's supposed to be. An army guy finds them and they're like, you're not supposed to be here. I'm the army. And she's like, I need to find my husband. He died here. And he's like, I understand the need for closure. I'll help you. It's like so stupid. Turns out the army guy is a nutcase.
Right.
And his wife died.
Okay.
And then that becomes a whole thing. And Nightwing disappears and we don't know where he went. He's just gone now. And the army guy's like, he ran away. If we find him, he's going to be in trouble.
Right.
And then the army guy becomes a nut. She escapes, makes her way back to where her husband was supposed to be, finds the husband. He's a zombie. Finds the Nightwing shows up and he's like, hey, I'm here. I figured you'd be here. And they're like, well, I found my husband.
Right.
Here he is. Let's bury him at sea.
Wow.
And then they just drive back.
I guess, I mean,
there's nothing scary. There's the zombies, only like 2 zombies in this entire hour and a half get uppity. Otherwise, there's nothing to do with the zombies. They don't try to eat these people. They don't try to eat them. They literally just stand there. There's a couple of pieces of when you're watching the movie, like there's one scene where she needs to rest while she's like on the run.
Yeah.
and she goes into like a mobile
Yeah, yeah,
home or
yeah.
whatever, and she sees a zombie family in there, and she brings the zombie family outside, and she goes to sleep. So they're dead, so it doesn't matter. They don't care if they're outside. And then she starts to hear a noise in the middle of the night, and you think, "Oh shit, the zombie's gonna get her." And the noise is the zombie is just digging a grave for his zombie family, and then she helps.
Interesting. But I thought, right,
Is
right, right.
so some zombies do
Yeah.
things, but they don't attack you. They just wanna bury their the plot is so paper thin, the movie is so short where you're just like, "Nothing can happen in this." It's awful. It's an awful, awful movie. It sounds like I'm not explaining the whole movie. I'm
No, yeah,
explaining the whole
yeah.
movie.
No,
Like,
I can
that's
see because,
yeah.
like this is one of those things where you said, "Oh, this sounds interesting," right? And I think that's what happens. It sounds like when they were developing, because it sounds like, oh, that sounds good. It sounds like this is like the first draft of a script where they didn't. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, that's solid. Where they didn't really. And when you actually get on set, you're like, oh, well, we still
Yeah.
gotta put this out. It was like it looked
Yeah.
good on paper, but then when you put in and you actually,
It doesn't
yeah,
work
it
at
sounds
all,
like
yeah, and that's
it's
exactly
not
sort of what
working.
happened. It's just
'Cause it just
like
sounds like it's just a cool pretty cool premise. I like that idea. And
yeah,
then,
the premise, I'm like, "This could be good." The trailer makes it look like it's gonna be good, and then the movie, you're just like, "Nothing's happening." We waited for an hour and a half for something to happen, and nothing ever
mhm,
happened. We were like, what are we doing? Are we gonna fight zombies? Because it's a zombie movie, but it's not a
yeah,
zombie movie. I guess that there's no real horror. The only piece that has any sort of horror element is when she has to deal with this really
yeah,
creepy army guy and the whole story with that is his wife died while she was pregnant,
mm,
and he never got to say goodbye to her. So he basically abducts Daisy Ridley and makes her dress up in his wife's clothing so he can say goodbye to her.
wow,
And then he becomes a little crazy, so she has to escape, and you see the zombie. This is all right, spoiler alert, who cares? No one's gonna see this movie, it's awful. So she sees the dead wife, and she's still pregnant, and the baby is still moving in the
whoa,
dead
right,
zombie. So she winds up having to kill the army guy to escape. When they're driving back from the husband, Nightwing and Ray, they hear crying.
and right, right, right,
They hear this crying and they see zombie wife is up and walking around now. And Ray's like, "We have to stop the car." And Nightwing is like, "This doesn't seem like a great idea. Why don't we just not stop the car?" She's like, "No, we have to." And they get out and you see that zombie lady is all like bloodied up because she birthed the
right,
baby.
right, right, right,
And then you think, "Oh shit, we're about to see a zombie
right,
baby. This
yeah,
is gonna be crazy." And it's just a regular
hmm,
baby. And then she picks up the baby, and the baby's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, Ray
that
Skywalker. It's a stupid, like, it's literally they look into like the distance, into the sun, the Nightwing, Ray, and the baby. It's like, and that credits.
I'm lost for words, man. It just sounds like a mess. It sounds like
There's no it's a
it just
mess.
sounds.
It's paper thin plot. Nothing happens. There's no real horror. The acting is not great. I mean,
I,
look, Daisy Ridley didn't have a
I was
lot to
gonna say
work
a lot
with.
of this stuff
I don't know
comes
that
with
she's the
a lot of these movies,
yeah.
like even Avatar. Like Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, I don't wanna
It's
blame
sometimes
her
just even
for
look
it.
even the guy who plays Jake Sully. You can only do so much with the stuff you have to work with. You know what I mean? Like so,
Right.
it's hard to really emote or make something work when you don't really have
Yeah, when there's nothing
exactly.
there, yeah, there's nothing for them to work with, so I don't wanna blame Nightwing and Ray. It's not their fault that they got stuck
Yeah.
in this piece of shit. They I'm sure they didn't think it was a piece of shit when they signed on. I would give this movie a 2.5 out of 10.
It sounds like it. It definitely
It's
sounds
a
like it.
2.5 out of 10, and the only reason it's not like a 0 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 is some of, like, the visuals were pretty
Yeah.
cool, like, when you see some of the they don't do anything, the zombies, but some of what they made them look like and stuff
Yeah.
like that actually looked like, "Man, if these zombies attacked more, this would be a really good look and design for a zombie." They just didn't.
Right.
But some of the visuals were pretty good and some of the overall idea could have been very good. So I don't wanna give it a 0, but 2.5 is the most I could give it. Do not see it.
So
This is not gonna be a movie that has a cult following. It's just
yeah,
gonna This is a movie that once it's out of the
it's
theaters,
gonna go into
it's gonna just go into obscurity. I would never have even seen it if it wasn't the
yeah.
Screen Unseen. I never even heard of
Yeah.
it, but they told me it would be a horror movie. I'm like, "All right, well, I like a horror movie." An hour and a half, and an hour and a half sounds like, for a horror movie, the perfect amount of time because you can only do
Yeah.
so much. How much murdering and killing and
Yeah.
scary shit are you gonna really do? You're not gonna do that for 3 hours. So an hour and a half seemed like the right amount of time, and it was the longest hour and a half of my life.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad news. Do not see We Bury the Dead. I cannot stress enough not to see We Bury the Dead.
Okay. So definitely don't see that, folks. Damn.
No, directed by a person. I'll give you the director's name, Zach Hilditch. Do you know why you know Zach Hilditch? You don't.
Mm.
You don't know Zach Hilditch. I don't know that he's done. I don't know if he's done anything else. Let's see if we've heard of any of his movies. I've never heard of These Final Hours. I've never heard of 1922. I've never heard of Rattlesnake. I've never heard of anything he's done.
This could be a thing where it's
nothing.
like a guy who made independent films that were very good, and this is his big break to do a major motion picture.
That's
and then
what I'm thinking.
he has to work with this kind of script, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh boy. So
Yeah, he's an Australian director.
Okay.
He is an Australian. I don't know if he wrote the movie or not, but maybe you're right. Maybe this is a guy that had some luck with independent movies, and so they're like, let's give this guy a shot at a movie that might.
yeah.
I hope it doesn't ruin his
Yeah.
chances. I hope he gets another opportunity.
So, folks, that's the 2025 movie wrap up of this year. Thanks for listening, folks. Same time, same table.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.